Last night, right here, we asked you to send in your questions on this mystery flight, and you did. We actually got hundreds of them while World News was still on the air, so we want to get right to it tonight. I want to bring in our aviation expert, John Nance, a pilot himself. And John, so many viewers asking the same thing. Clay tweeting, in fact, why isn't there a GPS satellite locator on the black box so it's easier to find, adding that he says someone needs to engineer something better. John, what do you make of that?
He's exactly right. I wish we could. The problem is that if this thing happens to be under 15 or 16,000 feet of water, you can't get a radio signal out to reach a satellite. Even on land, if it's too enfolded in metal, if a crash situation is on land, then that may also be a problem. But I agree, if we could find an engineering solution, that would be excellent.
And John, the next question has to do with the cockpit and the pilots themselves. Cody asking, is there a legitimate reason to turn off the trackers, pilots shutting down the systems that track their plane in the first place?
Well, we don't expect our pilots to be hiding and turning off the equipment for that purpose, so the system is not engineered that way. We have a legitimate need to turn those things off because if they're in the air and they malfunction, you don't want it garbaging up the air traffic controller's scope. And really the same thing on the ground. Too many airplanes on the ground squawking those things could be a problem.
But do you think what happened here will change thinking on that, John?
It could, but then again, we've got 93,000 flights a year, David, over the Earth, and every one of those gets to their destination almost always. We've never had this happen before, so the impetus really isn't there to change.
All right, John, stick with us here. I want to bring in David Curley, who's been with us every step of the way. This next question for you, David, and this came up repeatedly. A viewer asking, if the plane has crashed into the ocean, why aren't they using submarines to help in the search?
It is a good question. The U.S. doesn't talk about what its submarines can do or what they are doing. But two experts tell us it may not be the best tool to look for these black boxes. The reason is they work at 20,000 feet down, but they only radiate a signal about a mile. So you really have to be on top of it to actually hear it. So the sub may not be the best tool to do that with, but we don't know whether they're actually using them or not.
To hear it, and you're talking about the pinging there, you bring that up. We know there's just about 2 weeks left. This is what the sonar equipment would hear. You can't hear it with the human ear, but this is what the pinging would sound like with those hydrophones. John, you know that sound well. One viewer, Gina, asking how long after that pinging is done, after the original 30 days, does the data remain viable inside those black boxes?
It does. It may be there forever. We're not sure how long, but it certainly is going to be there for many years because it goes onto a little computer chip. As long as that chip is not compromised, the data is there.
All right, we're going to stay on this. Gentlemen, we thank you both and keep the questions coming. Remember to tweet us, use the hashtag AskWorldNews, and we'll do this again tomorrow night right here.